Kusile masatlamatla sinivusele sinemukele Kusile Breakfast Show. Thank you for choosing to wake up with us from Mhlaekseni. Is the 6th of January 2026. Sisamusinphilile lo Mhlaekseni. It's a holiday today. Lilanga lelikhulu lapha eveni, lilanga lencwala main ceremony letabe banjwe khona lapha eLutsitsini. Kepha singafiki lapho lo muhla dokumela ukuthi on Sunday there was a massive wave of excitement on social media due to the arrival of a famous YouTube streamer from America, Lwatiwa Kusile. He was in the country, avakashile tindzawo letiningi lapha eveni, and he was streaming live his visits and engagements with Eswatini residents. My views afikile over 2.2 million views. He was being watched by people from different parts of the world. Stream sakhe sibeke Eswatini on the global map. Sabe sikhulumisana na CEO welibandla lelibukete kuvakasha kuleli lekungilona lelimlethi lapha eSwatini kumkhombisa nje amasiko kanye nemihambo elive leSwatini. Simbonile avakashela tinzawo letiningi fire ekhathi Madenge Cultural Village, avakashela tinzawo letifaye ekhathi bo Gables kuningi la kondila sesekhona, waphinza wabutheka nemambala bamnika ligama lekuthiwa ngulogijimako. Futhi dlamini sabe sinayo sifitele nje sifomise ukuthi ngabe kuta kwakhe lana show speed kuvulele live leSwatini emathuba langanani ukuthi angakhona kwatiwa ngumhlaba wonke, ukuthi lokhu ke kusashisa live lisatiwa umhlaba wonke ngimaphi emacebo labatawuba nawo kuzama kumakethe live leSwatini ngokuthi tivakashi khona tovakashela live lakuleli. Sabe sinayo vusi lomhlaekseni at 7:30, so do stay tuned. And also siphinde siteke nayo indzaba yencwala. Siyakhumula ukuthi nakhona encwaleni ama tourists ayeta tovakasha tobona lo mcimbi lomkhulu nakangaka. Tenombolo tiyakhula kuyabonakala lokho ngekusho kwalo libandla laka ATA. Batabe bana stand ke ekhona eLutsitsini. Ndasichazela kabandi nasekafikile lapha ekseni. Kumanje let's take a break, sitawubuya netindzaba tecala.
Eswatini TV has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Eswatini Communications Commission. We are committed to reporting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that does not amount to hate speech or the description of gratuitous violence or explicit sex. For any complaints of our programming, please contact us on 2411-9600 or email info@eswatinitv.co.sz. You can also contact the Eswatini Communications Commission on 2406-7000 or write a letter to ECCOM on PO Box 7811 Mbabane. Email address is info@ecom.org.sz.
Asipenze sinemukele nathi tindzaba. Kulandzela kuphuma kwemiphumela yemabanga aka grade 7 kanye na form 3. Batali baphume ngebunyendi babo lomuhla bayofuna indzawo etikolweni letiphakeme. Malayini bekamatse kakhulu esikolweni lesikhulu sase St Mark's.
Batali labafuna indzawo yebamphana etikolweni letiphakeme eMbabane baphume ngebunyendi. Batali labanengi bavukele ekuseni kude batokhona kusheshe basitakale. Esikolweni lesikhulu eSt Mark's bakhonile kubasita labanye ekupholeni indzawo kanti labanye abakasitakali. Batali lesikhulumisene nabo bathide banalo lithemba lokuthi batositakala, baveta netinkinga lababhekana nato basafuna tindzawo.
Mina nje ngifike ngabo 5 ekseni, yithi bengathi lokuthi icala ngabo 8, but ngithe angisheshe ngifike ngoba ukhanze bese kuba nemalayini lamathi. Hey, kubuhlungu ngoba lokwendekile nje bathethe ama symbols bayowahlunga, then basitshela ukuthi nabatawubuya nababuya nawo nangabe bakubita bakuniketa shotha wayikufole indzawo basi nje mina unfortunately ngithi abakangibidi shokuthi ngihambe kahle.
My hopes are high ukuthi sisitakala because nabantwana baphathe kahle and but ke nje ukubonela abantu baningi so ngathi first come first serve masicabanga but ke besibhalile nama interview so we're very hopeful.
Nangibuka ngathi sitawusitakala singathi ke ngoba lala abantu labafuna lendzawo baningi. Ma challenges ke ngilokuthi ke simiswa isikhathi kuthiwe batasishayela then you have to be patient. Asakhe isikhathi esistabangakanani but nje ngithemba khona.
Lisekela lathishela inhloko wasesikoleni lesiphakeme sakaBoys ukhuthathe batali ukuthi basheshe bayifune indzawo njengoba bathatha linani lelikaliwe.
Sitilungiselele vele sisi ngoba naku batali bashiya nje ma symbols abegedeni bese siyawathatha ke thina nyalo nje i-team le admitako seyihledi nje nyalo seyibuka seyiyahlunga ibuka lama symbols alabantwana bakhona laba sibathatha i-second class yethu sekwaba ngu-good. Yes, bakhona sibathatha aba-very good, bakhona sibathatha aba-excellent, siyabhalansisa. Lesikubuka ukuthi ngileti ifundo la ngekhasi le-quality. Siye sibuke leti nombolo ukuthi kepha vele ka-form 1 noma ka-grade 8 sifuna bangaki bantwana. Sine nje ka-grade 8 sifuna maximum 135 webantwana. Uma sesifike kuleyo nombolo leyo bese sisakhona ukuthatha. And leyo nombolo leyo siye sifuna kuyigcwalisa before kuvulwa itikolo ukuthi kuvulwa itikolo ngelanga lekucala abafundi abantwana.
Batali basachubeka nekufuna tindzawo etikolweni letehlukahlukene bacela ukuthi etikolweni bathathe ngendlela lengiyo kube bede kucekelana phansi. Kubika Nompendulo Shabalala naSikhumbuzo Dlamini eMbabane.
Inhlangano letifundzisa ngekulwa nokuhlukubetana kanye nokuvikela ligciwane HIV tikhulisana nemajaha ngendlela tekugwema kuhlukubetana neludlame emakhaya nasemimangweni. Loku tinhlelo enhlanganweni ikhulisa umfana Bheki Shabanga uthi nomkhankaso wetingcoco wekushumayela livangeli lekuthi emajaha atigcine ukuvikela tifo.
Kuhlukubetana ngetebulili loso lokuchubeka kuze kufike nasesigabeni sokuthi kulahleke imphefumulo kabuhlungu sekwende ukuthi inhlangano ikhulisa umntwana ngekubambisana naletinye inhlangano letifundzisa ngako kuhlukubetana kanye ke nelitiko letempilo ukuthi kuhlanganiswe tinhloko ukuthi kubuketwe ukuthi lesihlava sekwanza kwekuhlukubetana kanye ke nekwanza kweligciwane le-HIV kungavikelwa kanjani.
Lingatsha njengoba ila sithole lithuba ukuthi ibuyele ekhaya ihlomule ngelwadi lokuthi ivikela kulolu gciwane lembulalave lokuthi ivikela ukuthi bangatholi tifo tabogqonsula lokuthi ivikela nasetinkingeni nje ukuthi nabo nawulijabale kuhlukubedwa ngoba sitholile ukuthi bayahlukubedwa bangabiki
umuntu endeni noba ngakendi ini siswati sisobala imvuko kayiwakhe umuntu lekungukuthini ngesiswati kude tingoni lebetingekho letibekiwe ekuthenini kulungisisa lapho khona kunekushayisana kwemicondvo khona kulabo labathandzanako
abobhululu babo lama adolescent girls lokuma adolescent boys bona abalithole igciwane ngalendlela lamantombazana kule same age lebalithola ngako kusho ukuthini ke lokho kusho ukuthi lama adolescent girls akathelelwa kunabonzanga yabo
sitshele majaha ukuthi majaha manini simane kelani thini mfombi imali phela nikabathathi nini ngenani kule abstinence sine primary sine secondary abstinence kuthi ngende bese kwendekile wayenda sex but still usenga recover kuloko lo focus kakhulu kiko sithi aba focus career athi ke majaha akube nendlela le staff esifundise dibhedlela sifundise labo nurse kuthi siyacela lokuthi lemodi la ba approachana ngayo bantwana ngoba lawo majaha ibe kahle
siyacocotela kuthatha emaphilisi kuna prep kuna pep lo prep uthi inhlobo letinzathu for emajaha kunalo lo ndawuthini amaphilisi lagunyako bese kuba imijovo tinhlobo letimbili
Bantfu labasha labaceceshekile ngekufundisa labanye bantfu labasha ngekugwema tindlela tekwandzisa ligciwane le-HIV kanye netindlela tekugwema kuhlukubetana nabo bathe citsisaka emikhosini yelive kufundisa labanye bantfu labasha ikakhulu ingatsha ukuthi ingativikela kanjani ekwandziseni kuhlukubetana kanye-ke nasekwandziseni ligciwane le-HIV. Kubika Sondomlangeni ngalobamba.
Tivakashi kanye nemaswati lahlala ngaphandle kwakuleli ngetizatfu letehlukene batvumisa kuphatheka kahle basekuleli kulamaholide lokuba kusho nabacocisana netinsatheli talomsakato ngesikhathi baphuma egedeni engwenya sebabuyela emuva.
Letivakashi tithi kuphatheka kahle endzaweni loyivakashele ngikona kwenta ukuthi uphindze ubuye kuyo ungasahambi wedwa-ke kodwa sewunetihlobo nebangani. Nalabo labangemaswati labakulamanye emave bathi kuvakashela ekhaya kuyabe lapha emoyeni njengoba kunekuthula nentokomalo. Tiphindze tadumisa nekubonakala kwembutho wembube nesive emigwaqweni yakuleli letithi kutende takhululeka kakhulu tati kutsi tiphephile.
Ngivakashele kaphuma eKhabomali. Kumnandzi ekhaya. Kumnandzi nje ekhaya kunekuthula kufana le siphithiphithi. So ngi-enjoyile kuba sekhaya. Bengikhumbulile kakhulu futhi.
Holiday ngasho ukuthi cha ngiwa-enjoyile ngoba vele besekhaya ekhaya kusekhaya kukho la ngidlula khona ekhaya. So bengibhizi kunemisebenzi ekhaya kuba naloko kodwa into lebalekile ukuthi uhleli nefamily uspenda isikhathi nabo ngoba nangabe awuhlali nabo esikhathini esiningi kufuna ukuthi mawuthola leli thuba lokuhlala nabo enjoy ube right.
I was visiting at Mbabane and I saw everything. It was all right and I was comfortable. They welcomes us. According to your town, everything is okay. Most of the place I saw that it was very clean.
It was beautiful. The roads are incredibly clean. The towns are beautiful. The people are very friendly and super safe drive. And yeah, I'm gonna definitely come back with my wife soon.
I love to stay here. We stay for 2 days. We stay at Sibebe. And yeah, it was amazing.
Bengilivakashele ekhaya bengibuyele ekhaya kahle kahle sengibuyele emsebenzini njengamanje lapho ngizamela abantwana khona. Bengihleli nemndeni maholide yabe mahle kakhulu nasemgwaqweni besinayo amaphoyisa sinakelele agcinisekisa ukuthi siphilile siphephile bekukuhle nasendleleni kude nje lokhu lesikubonile.
Tivakashile tangena kuleli ngamaholide akhisimusi eminyakeni wa 2024 tabangetulo kwa 111,000 ngekusho kwembiko wetelitiko letekuvakasha kanti litiko lisatihlanganisa tibalo taleto letingene kuleli kulamaholide lawa. Embikweni wendvuna yetekuvakasha kuleli umhlonishwa Jane Simelane lewethule emavikini laphelile live leSwatini selikhonile kukhanga tivakashi letingetulo kwa 867,000 kanti litibekele umgomo wekuthi ngeminyaka wa 2027 libe live selikhange tivakashi letingetulo kwa 2 million taphindze tasebentisa imali lengetulo kwa 2 billion emalangeni emnothweni wakuleli. Kubika Mbongwa Dube eNgwenya.
Lesinye sesive semaswati sithi siyamsekela kakhulu uhulumende ehlelweni lwakhe lokujova tonke tinkhomo lapha eSwatini kude tivikeleke esifeni semlomo nemasondvo. Lesive sithi lokhu kungasita kakhulu ekutheni umnotfo emakhaya kanye newelive ungathikabeteki kakhulu njengoba impilo yemaswati lamanyenti isekelwa yimfuyo lephilile nalekhona kukhicita. Lengcenye yesive bexoxisana netinsatheli talomsakato ngebomgcoka bekusekela tinhlelo tahulumende tekulwa nalesifo.
Sifo semlomo nemasondvo lesacala kubonakala kuleli kulamanye amadibhe esifundzeni saseshiselweni ngenyanga yeNkhwekhwete eminyakeni lophelile siyachubeka nekuwakhatsata emaswati njengoba athi uma singete salawuleka kahle singawulimata kakhulu umlotho wawo. Nobe uhulumende asukumela etulo walwa nalesifo kusukela sicala kubonakala sibese sibonakala nakuletinye tindzawo kuleli lesekwende ukuthi litiko letekulima lithathe sinqumo sekuthi litivikelise tonke tinkhomo takuleli kulesifo. Le indvuna yetekulima umhlonishwa Amandla Jawuka seyimemetele ukuthi lolu hlelo lutoqala ngenyanga yeNdlovana kulosetulu. Sive sikhomba kuyethabela lemetamo yahulumende yekulwa naso lesifo.
Kungilokulibhakela emaswati ngokuthi nini yathi manginale nkhomo ngiyathi ukuthi ngibeke imali yami la so ngaleyo ndlela leyo ufuna kuvele nginake so that's why ngithi mina uma nathi ngajova leti inkomo tingakhona lokusurvive tingaphike kufa 1 2 ngoba umuntu noma ngabe le mali inkomo uyayithengisa le nkomo ukhanza ukuthi uyithengisa nemali lelitamniketa nayo athi ukuthi nini nakhona kufundisa abantwana nakhona kulima nakhona kuphila nje lapho nje leyo nkomo leyo.
Imfuyo liningi lemakhaya liphila ngayo. Singajabula kakhulu na uhulumende nje siyacela sibambise kakhulu.
Awathi inkosi simehlwana kakhulu ngaleti mfuyo ngoba ngilapho sinemaswathi sibhalanse khona phela. Sisibonile litiko lehla lenyuka ligijima lisikhathalele emaswathi seva kuselibhulile ngala nangala. Kodwa ke sekuyasikhombisa lokuthi vele kumele ukuthi lento le yentiwe wonke leswazi Eswatini konke ukuze ukuthi sitobona ukuthi masingabe siyafa sifaka uphi-ke manje.
Singabonga kakhulu uhulumende nangasibambisa kuloko ngoba vele inkomo timcoka kakhulu. Singabonga kakhulu thina sibalandondozi inkomo sinato nje lakhaya sisebenta ngato kakhulu singabonga nangasibambisa samkhuthada naye ngathi angafaka umfutho ekusibambiseni.
Indlela lesidlisa ngayo cishe ihlanganisa kakhulu tindzawo letinyenti kanti naleti nkomo lamakhaya nje silima ngato sibhadala ngato tikwelete nasesithe emitini siphuke kangaka ngeke ukhone noma bangathi lo mjovo ungu-10 khona labangeke bakhone nalokuthenga.
Lesive sichubeke sanxusa wonke amaswati ukuthi abambisane kahle nahulumende kulokuvikelisa imfuyo kulesifo kanti ngakulokunye imali lehlelwe nguhulumende ukuthi isebente kulomkhankaso welive lonke ingetulu kwemalangeni latigidzi letingamashumi 60 kubika Mbongwa Dube eMbabane.
Kutemidlalo sihlalo wenhlangano webhola esifundeni sakaManzini Vusi Hall uthi kulomnyaka losetulu batawucala kuhlomelisa amaqembu latawuhamba embili etigabeni tekucala temidlalo ye-league pheceleti first round carrot kumaqembu ladlala esigabeni se-Super League, Promotional League kanye nasesigabeni saka B Division. Hall uthi kusifiso sabo ukuthi kulomnyaka amaqembu alesifundza abonakale ahamba embili endzebeni yeNgwenyama Cup.
Ezimanzini region executive ma plans ku-2026 makhulu kakhulu siplanele okuningi ezibhola kaManzini ezisathi nje ukuthi kevikini lelitako sabe sidlala iNgwenyama Cup final. Sifiso sethu ke ukuthi kule Ngwenyama Cup this year ezimanzini siyiwine because sisengake sayiwina ezimanzini ema region so sifiso ke sethu ukuthi this year siyiwine. And then ke kulamanye ama competitions now ezikwalonjwa Insta Cash sabe sidlala Insta Cash which means sesingethe incumbi ema competition ngamanzini ayangeteka. Na Super League wethu ke lonyaka sisithe utaba ne top 8 so sisabuka nalokuthi kutawuphusheka kutawuhamba kanjani kuze kudlaleke. And then lamanye ama plans esinako ezemanzini region ukuthi sibe nema peak teams alama zones zethu lesiwadlalisako on 8 Mkhiweni, Manzini, kwaLuseni, Mafutseni onke nje lama zones zethu ukuthi sibe nema peak teams sesito uneartha i-new talent sesibuke nje nalabanye labangakajwayeli ukudlala nalamanye ama regions ukuthi kudlaleka kanjani. And then kuthi ama players atawuchubeka njengoba besiwahlelile eminyakeni lophelile le last man standing le tawu sponsorishwa nguRemini sitawuchubekana nayo lo nyaka futhi kanjengoba besendile. Ezike sive semaswathi sathi ku-AGM chairman wa-announcer ne-executive yakhe ukuthi batabe bana first round carrot yalama teams onke kaManzini sukela ku Super League kuye kubo promotion kuye kubo B Division sasho ke si Super League first round lokudlale kahle utawuthola 5,000 emalangeni, and then kulabo promotion bonke batawuthola 2,000 emalangeni, and then labo B division batawuthola 1,000 emalangeni. Kuma motivator nje lokuthi isicale ayileague bafake amandla because kukhona lokutholakala ku first round, kube khona lokutholakala kona kuphela isizini.
Sathi phetha ngale dodo emidlalo hlela nathi ngoyenzayo sijabuya sibuketa ngaphandle.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you'll go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience.
And welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. For now, let's take a look at international news. Venezuela's ousted President Nicolas Maduro is now being held at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center. He was transferred there after being indicted in New York on drugs and weapons charges, which he denies.
Being slowly led from a plane onto a tarmac by an escort of special agents, deposed Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro arrived in New York late in the afternoon Saturday, after being abducted by U.S. forces from a residence on a military base outside Caracas. U.S. President Donald Trump detailed the precision military operation during a press conference earlier in the day Saturday.
Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice.
The 30-minute operation saw 150 U.S. aircrafts over Venezuelan airspace, some of which struck military bases while a team captured Maduro, who was then blindfolded and transferred to a U.S. ship, before being flown to New York. This was the climax of months of tension as Washington staged a heavy Navy buildup throughout the Caribbean Sea and conducted over 20 strikes on boats it says were involved in narco-trafficking, killing over 100 people. Maduro had previously criticized the military moves as pressure for him to step down or to oust him, and it seems he was proved right. Though previously indicted on drug charges in New York in 2020, the U.S. Department of Justice released a 25-page indictment on the deposed leader on Saturday, which included narco-terrorism conspiracy. Transferred by convoy to a Brooklyn detention center, Maduro is expected to make an initial appearance in a Manhattan federal court on Monday.
Global leaders are condemning the capture of Nicolas Maduro and urging respect for international law as reactions multiply from Paris to Beijing, while more details emerge about the U.S. operation.
A demonstration of American imperialism, a step towards freedom. Around the world, leaders are reacting to the U.S. operation capturing Nicolas Maduro. In Latin America, there have been mixed reactions. Cuba, fearing that it too will face Donald Trump's wrath, responded strongly.
Down with imperialism. Cuba condemns and denounces these actions as an act of state terrorism, a criminal assault against our America, a zone of peace, and an unacceptable attack on international law.
Brazil, Chile, and Uruguay have also denounced the capturing of Maduro, expressing concern for the region's stability. Colombia, one of the first to react, ordered troops to its border with Venezuela. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum condemned the attack while affirming her country's ties to the U.S.
We have a very good relationship with the United States in terms of security and other issues. There is communication and there is understanding on security matters that has been established in several meetings.
Argentina's President Javier Milei, a Trump loyalist, welcomed the operation as a step forward for freedom. Abroad, Caracas's strategic allies have all taken a firm stance. Moscow urged Washington to release Nicolas Maduro and his wife. Beijing said it is deeply shocked and condemned the hegemonic behavior of the United States. Tehran denounced the illegal violation of the territorial integrity of a sovereign state. In Europe, caution is top of mind. EU Foreign Affairs Representative Kaja Kallas called for restraint and the respect of international law. French President Emmanuel Macron took the opportunity to call for a transfer of power led by opposition politician Edmundo González Urrutia, who is widely believed to have won Venezuela's 2024 presidential election.
The Venezuelan people are now free of Nicolas Maduro's dictatorship and can only rejoice. The upcoming transition must be peaceful, democratic, and respectful of the will of the Venezuelan people. We hope that President Edmundo González Urrutia, elected in 2024, will be able to ensure this transition as quickly as possible.
Spain, which is historically linked with Venezuela, has stated that it will not recognize any intervention that violates international law and is offering to mediate in order to achieve a peaceful solution.
As Switzerland mourns, authorities are continuing to investigate the cause of the deadly fire and now believe it was triggered by sparklers placed on champagne bottles that came too close to the bar's ceiling. Investigators are also examining whether the venue's materials met fire safety regulations. Meanwhile, families anxiously await news of their loved ones, as some victims have been transferred to specialized burn units in hospitals in France and Italy, while 6 people remain unidentified.
This helicopter, on its way from Switzerland, will land at Niguarda Hospital in Milan. It's one medical facility with a major burns unit that is treating victims of the fire at the Constellation Bar. Among them is Manfredi Mercucci, a 16-year-old who underwent surgery and remains in a medically induced coma. His father is there to accompany him.
My son is doing badly, but he is alive, and that's the most important thing for us. He has burns on 30 to 40% of his body. Thank God the burns are on his arms, back, and hair. He was hit by the flames while he was escaping from the venue.
Like Manfredi, around 50 injured people are being transferred to burn units in Italy, France, Belgium, Germany, Luxembourg, and Romania to relieve the pressure on Switzerland's health system. Many of the victims of the Crans-Montana tragedy suffered severe burns, covering between 15 and 70% of their bodies.
The aim, once the circulatory situation and the acute threat to life have been stabilized, is to remove the heat-affected dead skin so that the potential source of infection is also removed and the resulting wounds are treated with skin grafts. This can take weeks or months until the wounds are completely closed.
In addition to burns, smoke inhalation and broken bones from the crush that occurred when partygoers tried to escape the blaze are also being treated at the hospitals.
As the war in Ukraine enters the new year, Russian bombardments continue to hit Ukrainian cities, with authorities reporting on Friday that residential areas in Kharkiv were targeted. Amid Russia's largest battlefield gain since 2022, Ukraine has ordered the evacuation of 3,000 children from the Dnipro and Zaporizhia regions.
Rescue workers run to save the wounded from the flames. Moments after new strikes in central Kharkiv. Local authorities say that Russian ballistic missiles struck one of the city's main streets. Residents are taking in the damage.
It's gone. The apartment is gone.
According to the city's mayor, these bombings wounded dozens and killed a 3-year-old child.
These are civilian objects. As you see, this is an old residential area in downtown Kharkiv. People have always lived in these buildings. There are no military objects nearby.
The attack comes as Ukrainian authorities ordered the evacuation of more than 3,000 children and their parents from some 40 towns in the Dnipro and Zaporizhia regions on Friday. It's an attempt to shelter civilians from the Russian army's advances on the front line. In 2025, Moscow gained over 5,600 square kilometers of Ukrainian territory, a greater advance than in 2024 and 2023 combined, according to the Institute for the Study of War. In his New Year's address for 2026, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that an agreement to end the war was 90% ready. European, American, and Ukrainian leaders are set to meet Saturday to discuss security guarantees that Ukraine hopes to obtain in a peace deal.
This marks the end of our international news. Thank you for staying with us. It's 7:30. We go for an ad break and come back with ETA CEO Vusi Dlamini. Don't go anywhere.
Imagine being part of a journey that uncovers the beauty of untold stories. Get ready to be part of something epic. You don't want to be left out, and you definitely don't want to miss out. Join the journey of uncovering untold stories through art, words, and hands. O-U-T out. Well, that's poetry. Poetry. Don't blink or you'll miss it. Every Monday, 6:30 p.m. Screens on, eyes glued.
All right, welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. This is the Tuesday edition of Kusile Breakfast Show. Thank you for choosing to waking up with us this morning. As mentioned earlier, we'll be joined by the ETA CEO Vusi Dlamini is here in studio, joining us this morning. Dr. Kulumagabandinga, iShow Speed, who was here in the country on Sunday. He sparked a wave of excitement on social media. Ulapa Eswatini streaming. But to tell us more about his visit, Vusi joins us now. Very good morning, Kosi Sabang. Yeah, it was my first time hearing of this boy, 20-year-old iShow Speed. And one thing I realized, he is huge. He is big, mkhulu kakhulu. Watiwa bamfana kakhulu Nkosi, you know. And him being here with 47.2 million subscribers on YouTube, streaming in the country, logo kusho ukuthi we're being watched by different people from different parts of the world. What does this mean for Eswatini? What impact will the stream have for Eswatini?
Thank you very much, Lulu, and thanks to Eswatini TV. Yeah, we really had a massive event with iShow Speed. We want to first of all appreciate them coming to our country, or picking amongst other countries Eswatini as a destination to to visit. And to promote one way or the other. But also want to thank other stakeholders that were on the ground in terms of making this happen. Tourism, ETA. We would really want to thank especially Swazi Trails, who were actually working on the ground in ensuring that everything happens. This for us as a country is massive in the sense that, like we have mentioned, it has put us up there in the map, in the global sphere of things in terms of the destination itself and what we can actually offer as the Kingdom of Eswatini.
Yeah, you know, with all his visits, engaging with residents and also taking part in our heritage activities, would you say he had the full experience of the Swazi culture?
You know, the Swazi culture is very broad, but I think he really, if you ask me, he really immersed himself into the deeper side of our cultural heritage. Yebo kona abengekayicethe kulesikhathi labekuso for this period, but the experience that he had, for instance, at Mantenga Cultural Village, demonstrated to a very large extent who we are as a Maswati, because siyati ukuthi likhaya ngilona limgcoka. For him to actually immerse himself and understand the whole dynamics in terms of likhaya leMaswati kusuka esangweni la kuhlala khona bafana, ahambe abuke nesibaya kokuthi mbamba mana sikhuluma ngesibaya sikhuluma ngani, ahambe futhi abuke nasenthangeni ukuthi enthangeni ngilapho kuhlala khona bosisi, and also appreciate our dances as well. I think it made the whole experience a very good one. I think we really believe that he immersed himself, and I think if those that were following him and what he was saying, actually he really appreciated. We are aware that he went to other countries. He went to Mozambique, he went to South Africa, but I think what he experienced in the country, even him when he started, he said this is a completely different experience that we are going to show here. And I think as if he was predicting what he was going to experience. I think at the end of the day we offered quite some very good cultural experience. Him also moving on to do Kubutsega, Ayobutsega is also a very big one in terms of promoting our culture as well as a country, to go through the entire process and actually see how it works. Gwende Gogutsi understand the authentic culture, the authentic experience. So basically we offered him a real or authentic experience. But it was not only that, like you would note, right next to a Mantenga Cultural Village, Kunel Sushwana, where he also experienced whitewater rafting, which was an exciting activity as well. If he had the whole day or two or even three, he would have experienced quite a number of things. He managed to go to Mlilwane to see our wildlife as well on a bicycle. That's also another experience, because it was quite some actual good experience.
Actually, I watched the whole stream and Mboni he was so excited to be in the country, and he wasn't being a snob. For instance, that time bamvisa inyama yenhloko and bamtshela this is cow's head. I was like, cow's head, but he continued eating. You know, ingabe vele mhlambe nasingakhuluma nje ngale excitement yakhe Nkosi injabulisa kanganani as the authority.
We are very happy as an authority. Actually, we are humbled as well from Maswati, the way they actually showed up, even though we know that we didn't really announce it well on time, and it was also intentional because of some non-disclosure agreements that we had with the people that were actually organizing the whole thing. But eMaswati akhombisile kumjabulela kakhulu. For me, this experience labayibonile, particularly bamfana, ikhombise a side that they also probably didn't know about the kingdom. So I'm not only seeing it as from an international tourism perspective, but I'm also seeing it from a domestic, because they have seen this idol of theirs as young children experiencing certain things letendeka Eswatini, possibly that then make the children also want to see some of the places. So for me, it also has a spillover effect on domestic tourism.
I think you will agree with me, Nkosi, that iShowSpeed certainly did put Eswatini on the global map. As I mentioned earlier, we were being watched by different people from different parts of the world. This now has opened a window of opportunity for Eswatini to market herself. So have you tried with your team to come up with strategies to market Eswatini while
The reality is that just this morning we actually were having a quick meeting to see how we capitalize on something like this, whilst Gusashis are like you are saying. But not only that, I think for us we are looking just beyond this. We want to see how we can include this as we review our strategy. We include such initiatives as part of our strategic direction going into the future.
Yeah, all right. So, you're in collaboration with local influencers for your domestic tourism campaigns. And, you know, iShow Speed has taken live streaming to the next level. And are you looking into, you know, using live streamers as well, using your local influencers to market Eswatini?
I think that's a very good one, and for the experience that we saw yesterday, or that we had yesterday, we really appreciate that the role that influencers actually play in promoting tourism. The reality is that it requires quite a lot of work on the ground. I think if you look at what was happening on Sunday, you would actually know that there's quite a lot of work that goes behind the scenes to make it an actual reality. So working with our influencers, definitely it's something that we will endeavor doing, but obviously it will then speak to issues of capacity in terms of ensuring that they're actually capacitated to do things and take them to the level that iSpeed actually showed us in our country. But for me, it's beyond that as well. It is also us working with other entities, because e-tourism, like I mentioned, is not about the ETA alone. It's about other different stakeholders playing their roles. Because it speaks to technology as well. What technology do we have to actually ensure that things happen? So private-public partnerships actually would be very key in ensuring that this happen. And this also includes the people on the ground. Like I mentioned, we worked with Swazi Trails. We're actually leading on this. It cannot only purely be us working with our influencers. We need to take it a step further and actually see it much bigger than that, and having all different stakeholders playing their roles.
Yeah, I'm just curious, Ngosi, was it explained to him that he will undergo Gubutega, and was it clearly explained to him what Gubutega entails? You know, Naloguti, he was excited in doing it. It was quite amazing seeing gumbona abutheka lapha akwenda aya ilandzela yonke le process. Namchazela ukuthi kwenekani la kubuthekela.
The reality, like I'm saying, is that we engaged a lot with the people that were organizing for him to come to the country. So it was part of the itinerary. So certainly he would have gotten some glimpses of what was going to happen. But obviously you don't want to give away too much. So because this is a person that wants to experience things. So I think if I look at how he was reacting to the whole experience, Gubein Volai at the end of the day, what exactly happened.
All right, no. Thank you so much, Ngozi. Well, enough about iShow Speed. Today is a big day for Eswatini. Ingwala Main Day Ceremony 2025. Siyabona Ngozi ukuthi nayo Ingwala sayazama kukhanga ama-tourists la khona kudala lapha even and attend Ingwala. Ingabe vele nombolo yakhula yini mhlambe ungasilente ema-figures, but nje kubuka lokuthi vele yakhula nombolo debantu laba attenda Ingwala.
Yeah, if we are looking at the numbers comparing to what happened in previous years, I think in the year 2025, we're in 2026 now. If we compare Ingwala ya 2024 na 25, we saw the numbers increase. Okay. During the weekend in Ingwala, we actually noticed that there were about 48,000 tourists that actually came through to the country. We do believe that we will be seeing not less than that. We hope that the numbers are going to go up actually, even in today's event, and it does come across as one of our biggest attractions in the country.
All right. Before I let you go, because it's ukuthi niyena even a stand nani as the ETA khona lapha eNgwaleni. What normally happens? Ma tourists makafika kwendekani, you know, for someone who would want to go to the ceremony today?
Yeah. We normally encourage our tourists obviously to come through to our stand, but awufike babone nje nabengale ligede where we actually talk to them about our this particular event, but not only this event, but we also talk about events lamanye lakhona Eswatini. Nabeta ke baye ukhanza ukuthi bafike vele bajabulele lokwati kabanti about yona ingqwala nekwati kabanti about other places labangakhona ukuthi bativakashele. Labanye ke ukhanza ukuthi batawufuna nekwati ukuthi yini labatsinga kuyivunula kuze babe part of the entire njengoba sathi ukuthi ayibukelwa kufanele sonke sibe part of it. So it encourages us ukuthi not only do they come to see, but they also happen to buy certain traditional attires that they use for the ceremony.
Okay. At what time, Chinkosi?
We are always there. I do believe that from around 10 we should be there going all the way kuze kuyawuphela wona umkhosi wengcwala.
All right, smakhulu kuyavakala. There you have it. Vusi Dlamini, ETA, CEO Eswatini just from a visit here. I show Speed, who is a American YouTube content creator, and also Ingwala Main Day, which is happening today. Do visit their stand for more information on domestic tourism and places you can visit inside the country. Let's go for a net break. Sabia Kodamaj.
Eswatini TV has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Eswatini Communications Commission. We are committed to reporting news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that does not amount to hate speech or the description of gratuitous violence or explicit sex. For any complaints of our programming, please contact us on 2411-9600 or email info@eswatinitv.co.sz. You can also contact the Eswatini Communications Commission on 2406-7000 or write a letter to ECCOM on PO Box 7811 Mbabane. Email address is info@ecom.org.sz.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you'll go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience.
All right, so welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. We continue with our program. In one of the most earthquake-prone regions on Earth, where the Tibetan Plateau meets the Himalayas, China is building a colossal hydropower system that will dwarf the Three Gorges Dam. By tunneling through mountains that surround the planet's biggest canyon, the project is an ultra-ambitious gamble on clean energy and one with potential consequences for China's neighbors. Let's take a look at this video.
For decades, the Three Gorges Dam has stood as a symbol of China's engineering might. A project so vast that NASA said it measurably altered the Earth's rotation, making days 0.06 microseconds longer. The Three Gorges Dam generates more electricity than any other power plant on Earth, enough to light up more than 70 million homes a year.
But on the edge of the Himalayas, China is planning something even more ambitious, on a river you may never have heard of.
This is the project of a century. The most impressive power generation system ever envisioned.
It's the hydropower equivalent of a mission to Mars.
But to build it, China must tunnel through mountains that are still rising in one of the most earthquake-prone places on the planet. And that's not all. What happens here could affect hundreds of millions of lives downstream in neighboring India and Bangladesh, risking new tensions over water. The engineering is unprecedented. So are the stakes.
There is like this stark beauty. It was called the roof of the world because it's the highest part of the world.
From the glacial melt here, the Yarlung Sangpo River flows over 1,000 kilometers east along the edge of the Tibetan Plateau, before performing what many consider a geological miracle at a location known as the Great Bend, right where the plateau meets the Himalayas.
It does this mad turn, so it stops flowing east and does a big hook and starts coming back and flowing west.
About a 180-degree bend where the river drops about 2,000 meters in elevation in just a 200-kilometer period. Then the river leaves China, goes into India, and there it's known as the Brahmaputra. And then it empties out in the Bay of Bengal.
亚下水电工程体量大、周期长、影响远。
But it's back at the Great Bend where construction of the Yasha, or Lower Yarlung hydropower project, officially began in July 2025. It's a place so remote, a road only reached it in 2013.
The gorge of the Great Bend is the biggest canyon in the world. It's literally 3 times deeper and a little bit longer than the Grand Canyon in Arizona.
It's this natural drop, the world's steepest and deepest, that also gives the plateau its greatest hydropower potential. Those following the project say China's ambition is not just to tap this power, but to utterly dominate it.
The energy generation from this project will break like records in like many different dimensions. It will be by far the world's largest individual source of energy, 60 gigawatts of installed capacity.
The Chinese government has said that this will generate about 300 billion kilowatt hours a year. That's more than the UK uses an entire year. It's also about 3 times more than the Three Gorges generates.
With little known officially about the project, including the construction timeline, analysts outside China have had to rely on social media, state television, and satellite images to piece together its design.
Not so long ago, an article was published in Nature, one of the premier peer-reviewed academic journals, that roughly describes the project as a diversion project.
Unlike a traditional walled dam, observers believe this one would be made up of a series of hydropower stations along the river. Theories vary, but some outside experts suggest there would be one upstream dam with a large reservoir to regulate the water flow. This would be followed by a second smaller dam at the top of the gorge, where water would be diverted from the Great Bend through the mountains via a number of underground tunnels and turbines, before potentially entering another smaller re-regulation dam at the bottom of the gorge. This could stabilize the flow before the river continues downstream into India.
This will be quite an engineering feat. After all, you're literally reconstructing a whole river underground. The volume of water that will be diverted here will be similar to the discharge of a medium-sized river, such as like the Rhine in Europe.
It's a concept already tested at the Jinping dams, where engineers diverted the river through the mountains.
But what is really novel about this project is just like its sheer scale, where like many engineers would have probably not believed that building such a project in such a remote location would be even possible.
The government announced the project would cost 1.2 trillion yuan. That's about 167 billion US dollars. And that compares to the Three Gorges when it was built, completed back in the 2000s. It ended up at a cost of about $37 billion. So this is 4 to 5 times as much as that.
But experts say for China, this project is not just about generating power. It's a core tenet of its national economic strategy.
China is an engineering state, and one of the things that having an engineering society in China has done is that it's a government that likes to build its way out of problems.
The dam, to some extent, is an extension of China's bias towards production, towards investment, but it comes at a very interesting time. China is striving to make this transition from investment to consumption-based growth. So the dam at this point would provide a critical demand boost at a time when consumption and investment have been weak.
It's a project that promises an economic jolt for sectors like construction, cement, and steel.
When the project was announced, it rippled through the economy. Companies like Power Construction Corp of China, China Engineering Corp, Huaxin Cement, their share prices all surged.
But at another level, the dam will also enable China to produce more renewable energy and help that green transition.
With a target of net zero emissions by 2060, China has said the project could cut 300 million tons of carbon emissions a year by replacing fossil fuel power. It's also about energy security, generating more power domestically as demand surges for energy-hungry tech. But building this record-shattering mega-project in one of the most remote and geologically unstable regions on Earth tests the boundaries of modern engineering.
In order to build a dam like this, you're dealing with intense energies and intense altitudes. Landslides, freezing, malfunctioning equipment, people falling off the side of mountains. They're building this massive project on a site where 6 tectonic plates connect up.
That makes this one of the world's most earthquake-prone regions. In fact, in 1950, a magnitude 8.6 earthquake, one of the largest ever recorded in human history, occurred in the area.
For the last 40 years, China has developed the best hydropower engineers in the world by far. They're not magicians, and they can't stop tectonic plates, and they can't stop earthquakes. So that's a massive danger. And even if the earthquake doesn't happen, these type of projects tend to have slow disasters happen within them. So they seep plastic and concrete into the surrounding environment, and that changes the entire environment of that place slowly over time.
The International Campaign for Tibet also warns that dam projects frequently displace thousands from ancestral lands and sever traditional livelihoods with little consultation or support. The Three Gorges project, which required the forcible relocation of 1.3 million people from a much more heavily populated region, submerged large sections of the river valley, damaging habitats for many endemic species. China has done this before. Over the last 2 decades, China's 12 dams along the Mekong have reshaped the river and the lives that depend on it downstream.
The Mekong runs about 4,500 kilometers from the Tibetan Plateau in China through Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam. This river is the lifeblood of people for those countries. Tens of millions of people rely on natural resources that come right out of the river. China doesn't share information on its dam building with the downstream countries of the Mekong. It doesn't let the countries know the designs of the dams, how they're going to be operated when ground breaks, when the reservoirs start to fill, let alone how they're operating in real time.
Those who study the river say this has left communities in the dark and unable to rely on the river's seasonal floods and droughts.
The Mekong is mighty because of its seasonal flood pulse. And this flood pulse drives the Mekong's fishery, it drives the agricultural production. What dams do is reduce the peak. At times, they can reduce the peak downstream by 20%, 2,000 kilometers away.
But in areas closer to the dam, like here in northern Thailand, those fluctuations are felt even more acutely. In the dry season, the pattern reverses. Water release for hydropower can push the river levels 3 times higher than normal. As a result, environmentalists say the ecology of the river has been disrupted and the reproductive cycles of the fish and birds upended. What were once thriving fishing villages are now diminished.
ถ้าพูดถึงเขื่อนเนาะเมื่อก่อนนี้มันน้ำมันปกติแต่เดี๋ยวนี้มันน้ำบ่ปกติละขึ้นลงไข่มาก็มาไข่แห้งก็แห้งไข่ขึ้นก็ขึ้นมันเลยทำให้ปลาผลกระทบเรื่องปลาเรื่องหาปลาหากินนี่ยากเลยเดี๋ยวนี้นะปลาก็ไม่ค่อยมีหาได้ก็บ่ได้ขายอย่างนี้ผลกระทบหนักทำมาหากินแล้วก็ยังก็ยากแล้วก็ปลาน้ำก็
People there have been suffering for years. They lose their livestock, they lose their equipment, they lose their gardens and farms when these sudden pulses of water come through.
It's the same lack of data and transparency that has fueled concern downstream from the lower Yarlung hydropower project in India and Bangladesh. While India's Brahmaputra River is fed by other tributaries too, experts say nearly 40% of its fertile sediment comes from the Yarlung Sangpo's gorge, sustaining millions of lives and livelihoods.
Both countries have come to China and said that they want more information about it. They want to know what the downstream effects are going to be. And they're wanting, more than anything else, assurances that the downstream flow of the river that turns into the Brahmaputra won't be too impacted by